Hey y'all, got a friend's van here who's uh, having an issue with its vents. The vents aren't switching defrost to floor mode and all that. Um, I have a van that I had the same issue with a few years back, and I did a little rig that took a lot less time than trying to replace the factory vacuum canister, which is very difficult to get to. So we're going to take a little look and see if we can't figure out how to do a little easier fix and a little cheaper fix than what the factory setup has. So you can see right here, let me take this cover off for you. He's actually been in here and he has tied that back so that he would get, I think he had it where he would have defrost, but anyway, we're going to cut that and check for vacuum and see what all he's got going on right here. So I've got all the ties that were there cut off, and right here you can see the vacuum connector, and if you look at this black line right here, it actually follows around that way and goes under there, and I'll show you where it goes under the dash, but that's where we get vacuum from the engine. And I checked for vacuum right here. This will actually come apart, but you have to be careful. It can be brittle sometimes, so you want to be careful. But I checked on the other side of this black line, and there was a little bit of vacuum, but just it wasn't sucking very hard, so I know we got a problem there. So you want to come to this panel over here on the passenger side, just under the where the glove box would normally be, and you can just be careful. There's clips, but you can pop this out, just pull straight back, and just be careful so you can't break it. And you want to take these 4 bolts out here and take this panel off so we can see a little better. You can probably work around it, but it's a little easier and it's not very hard to take off. So I've got the panel taken off. It's just 4 bolts, and then you can see under here going to the floor, and if you look right here, you'll see a white line that's going to this actuator right there, and right next to it there's a black line that actually goes through the firewall, and it's got a white rubber grommet that it actually fits through, and it's right up there. You may not be able to see it too well, but you'll see it if you're looking for it. And that's the line that we need to provide vacuum to. I have seen some videos where guys just hook direct vacuum to it, and that will work in most situations, but under a high load you're going to lose vacuum. So that's why the factory had a reservoir and a check valve that kept vacuum on reserve all the time, so that you wouldn't lose it when you're climbing a hill or doing hard acceleration. So we're going to rig up a little system and bring vacuum in here and not have to get into the factory vacuum box, which is, like I said, very hard to get to. Right here, if we go to the oil fill cap and then go right behind it, you can see this red line. This is the factory line that provides vacuum to the vent system. It goes to a difficult to reach place under this way, and the factory vacuum reservoir is under there. I believe you would have to take this whole fender off to get to it, and that's just way more work than it's worth. So we're going to tap into this system and then put our own reservoir on the inside. So for supplies, I picked up this Dorman 47076. It was one of the better priced um, vacuum canisters that I could find, and that's what I used on my other van when I did it. Also, let me see, I picked it up at Advance, but I think, some of the other stores have it as well. And I picked up a check valve. I was going to get a single output check valve, but they only had a dual output in stock, but um, there's a way to make that work as well. So um, we'll take a look at that here in just a second. Here's that Dorman canister out of the box. I also picked up this YG 429 that I was talking about. I wanted a YG 360, but they didn't have one available, and I'm trying to get this vehicle back to this guy. And you can see here it's got two outputs and one, vacuum connection, but as long as we plug them or use them both, don't have a vacuum leak, it will work just as well. I really like the Motorcraft check valves. They seem to work better than the other brands I've used, so that's why I went with this kind. I also picked up some 5/32 and some 7/32, just bulk vacuum line. I wasn't sure what I would need, so I just grabbed two that looked close and figured, we could make them stretch a little bigger if we needed to make them fit where we needed to. One of the more difficult parts of this is deciding where to run your vacuum line through. On my van, I actually drilled a hole just in front of the doghouse, and I had to take off all this air filter and so I could get back there. And I mean, it's not very difficult to get to. On this van, I may go through a hole on behind the fender because it's missing the inner fender liner, which you may not be able to see right there, but there is a grommet back here, and I may try to pass it through this grommet that's right here and go through that fender and then just get my vacuum coming back into that area. So I decided to do like I did on my van. I didn't want the line to risk rubbing on points going around the fender and other points where it might rub and then later become a problem. So I went ahead and took this doghouse loose. There's just 4 clips. There's 2 on this side, and then there's 2 on the other side, and that gave me enough room to just pull it back. You can see right here, and I'm going to make a hole up in this area and pass my line through and then protect it so that the metal here doesn't cut into it. And we'll run it over to the line I showed you earlier outside, and then we'll be done with that part of the project. Alright, so I got my vacuum line run to my red line here, and here's my line that I got coming from inside the cab, and we eliminated this line here that goes to the canister because we're taking that out of the circuit, and I was able to feed it from the inside the cab back there. I'm just going to tie it up so that it doesn't have a chance to rub on anything, and I'll show you where it's coming out inside. So here's where I got my line coming in from the doghouse. Put a little loom around it to protect it. Temporarily connected it right to the line that was coming through the firewall just to test, and everything's working great right now. but we do not yet have the reservoir and the check valve connected. So like I said earlier, if we don't have that, then we're going to lose our vents when we're in a hard acceleration or on a hill. So I'm going to get that set up and then we'll have this thing going. All right, so I've got my vacuum line coming in through the little hole we drilled there. Use a piece of hose just to secure it, nothing fancy, just where it won't move around. Installed my two-way check valve right here, and it's really a one-way check valve with two outlets. So we've tied into the vacuum line that goes to the AC that I showed you earlier. I did discover that this Dorman vacuum canister does have a built-in check valve, but I would have to have a T to use it, and I don't have that, and this guy needs his van back, so I'm going to have two check valves on this setup. But that port where I have the red cap on actually has a check valve, so if you were to hook the vacuum supply up to it, it would work on its own, and the other port would work as, you know, connected to your AC system, just like we have it. Anyway, this should work, and I've got it tested, and all the vents are working. All the actuators are moving. So anyway, if you have this issue, this is more than likely gonna take care of your issue on your Econoline van. So anyway, let's see. So anyway, we're gonna finish up closing everything up on that van. Thanks for watching this. I hope that helps you, and maybe we'll have some more videos. Let me know if you like it. Thanks.